Swaziland News Editor Zweli Martin Dlamini has accused the Eswatini government of propaganda and unjustified attempts to silence the media from reporting on the pro-democracy movement. It comes after the outlet and its editor were declared terrorists by Eswatini Prime Minister Cleopas Dlamini. Dlamini spoke to Newzroom Afrika's Thembekile Mrototo yesterday. Let's take a look, listen.
It's not the first time the government of Eswatini and the king tried to fight the Swaziland News. They've been trying this for years since its establishment. And the way we're clashing with the government, it's because this publication is pro-democratic. We've been publishing critical articles against the king and the government. As you know, in Eswatini, that the media is highly censored. Fortunately, the Swaziland News is registered in South Africa, so they've been trying all possible means to try and shut it down, but they were not successful. So now the latest developments suggest that they are trying to declare it as a terrorist entity, including myself as the editor. But I cannot say there's some implication. It's just that they're trying to play propaganda in the eyes of the international community so that they may view the stories that we publish as in support of terrorism in Swaziland.
Let's get response. We're joined by Eswatini Government Spokesperson Alpheus Nxumalo. Thank you for availing yourself this morning. The government has since declared Mr. Dlamini and his publication as terrorists. On what grounds?
Good morning, Charity, and your viewers.
Are you able to hear us, sir?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Did you catch the question? On what grounds is Mr. Dlamini declared a terrorist?
It is simple. If you go to his page in the social media platforms, Mr. Dlamini, not even once or twice, on many occasions, he have incited violence in this country. Recently, as yesterday, we were burying 2 members of our security forces in the kingdom. Mr. Dlamini have even actually extended words of praise to the terrorists that have murdered our security agencies and our people in the uniform. So it is not true that Mr. Dlamini is being censored for expressing his political views in the media. If I were to ask you right now, where is Mr. Dlamini? Where are his offices in South Africa? His newspaper or his media company has employed how many people? What's his number for SARS? Does he pay taxes in South Africa? So it is not true. He has been declared a terrorist because he himself, out of his own volition, have chosen to take the path of adversarial politics and have incited violence in the country. He have praised agencies of darkness, people who have got no identities, who have killed and maimed and murdered our people, and he has always said that he is encouraging this kind of situation. So it is not true that he was declared as such because the government is trying to censor his ideas and his opinion as an individual.
Mr. Nxumalo, speaking to another publication in South Africa, Mr. Dlamini pointed out, he quoted rather, a commander of the Swaziland International Solidarity Forces. You speak of the death of the 2 police officers. He claims that the forces behind the destruction of Inyatsi Construction's operations a fortnight ago is actually linked to those people. According to this commander, is there no truth to this?
We are all hearing that from him, and those are exactly the reasons why today he has found himself with the status that he has. How can somebody be praising and be talking to so-called international solidarity forces which are not known anywhere in the world? They are only a cell that is thirsty for the blood of a Maswati, and government will continue to take a stand against them and all their enablers and their funders and their foot soldiers. There is absolutely no truth in what Mr. Dlamini is saying, to say they are freedom fighters in Swaziland. For what? They are fighting against who? A Maswat have got a long history. We have a system that is very democratic. Even your own country, as it were, is waiting to legislate in order to follow the democracy that we are following in this country, as the Constitutional Court have ruled. The ANC members of parliament in South Africa must copy and come back. People want to take control of their national leaders. They want to exercise oversight to what their political leaders are doing. So what we are practicing here in this country is a democratic system. It is open, checks and balances, and it is not true that there are so-called international solidarity forces that are fighting for independence of freedom of Eswatini.
Mr. Nxumalo, you speak of the country practicing a democratic system. However, on the 29th of June in 2021, a number of people were killed in the country that were calling for democratic reforms in Eswatini. A commemoration is being held in South Africa today, but there were also people who were commemorating the day on the 29th, and some have said, well, the government of Eswatini does not even care, as you did not even come out to say anything about the loss of lives a year ago.
That is absolutely incorrect. The government of Eswatini has undertaken independent investigation post that incident. And it's a wonder that you are saying they were protesting for democracy. I have never seen any protest that is staged during the night where everybody does not see what is happening. That incident should not repeat itself again. It is not true. We even know the people that are involved. They are clear. It's government who actually even went to all the hospitals, produced all the figures, until we agreed that this is the number of people that are lost. What we don't know and is not known now is why was that protest conducted during the night? Who was killing the people there? Did we have mercenaries that came into the country, which today are called international solidarity forces, who actually murdered these particular people? So there is no credibility whatsoever in the position to say government murdered, security forces murdered. There is absolutely no truth that has been established to that effect.
Mr. Nxumalo, how would it be that mercenaries could come into your country and do as they please? Does that not speak to the weakness of the security systems in Eswatini?
We are talking today of the so-called international solidarity forces, which you asked me about earlier on. Zweli Martin and others have praised them in the matter of 2 security officers in the past 2 weeks. So terrorists don't cross borders through border gates. They infiltrate countries. That's why their work is always carried out during the dark and during the night.
There are reports that are doing the rounds about what has now what has now been called the Winter Revolution, being sponsored by people outside of Eswatini. Are you privy to these reports, and can you confirm that for us?
Eswatini is not for sale. There is absolutely no groups of international business cartels or political forces that can meet outside the country and take decisions on our behalf. There is absolutely no solution that can be parachuted from any corner of the globe. The Kingdom of Eswatini is a member of the UN, is a member of the African Union, is a member of SADC. We have open communication with friends. We absolutely reject the idea of the so-called Winter Revolution. It is not going to happen in this country, and Eswatini, through their government, has taken a stand against it. If it is them, we are going to defend our country, we are going to defend our people, we are going to defend our sovereignty, and we are going to defend our right to self-determine and to self-rule.
Mr. Nxumalo, how then do you find each other with some sectors of the population and those in Eswatini that feel there's a need for change desperately as their lives have not progressed?
It is true. Eswatini have always come up with ideas on how they can better put strategies in place to improve their livelihoods. Even the podcast system itself we are talking about His Majesty initiated review in different number of occasions since 1991. They have been engaging, they've been changing a lot of things. For instance, let me give you a quick example. Today, Maswati, when they elect their national representative, they elect directly from their respective Tingunda centers, which is what the Constitutional Court has since ordered the Republic of South Africa to consider doing right now. We are waiting for the ANC to legislate. This goes against the idea of deploying people from headquarters of political parties. So Maswati are working hard, Maswati are together, Maswati are engaging as we speak. We are waiting for a date to engage in the national dialogue. A national dialogue that is supported by the people themselves, supported by the strategic partners of the kingdom, both regional, continental, and international. So therefore, we have never found ourselves in the conundrum where we cannot engage and talk openly about what needs to be changed in our way of life, even in the way we are being governed. That's why our system, we are saying, it is democratic, because it opens that avenues from time to time for people to engage and influence and even open its democratic needs within the system itself.
Thank you very much for availing yourself this morning. Eswatini Government Spokesperson, Mr. Alpheus Nxumalo.